Hello there, this is Bic Benedict. We're playing Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition on Dante Must Die difficulty. This is Mission 3. We're going through the campaign as Vergil, and we are using no items. So as I mentioned, we're on the third mission, and as of this video, I am back to using the PC version. The biggest gripe that I have with the PC version is one I've uttered many times, and it's just the fact that even though the game recognizes that I'm using a gamepad, it doesn't have the mouse fade away and disappear. The cursor stays on the screen perpetually and never goes away. So I have to put it in the top right behind the FPS counter. And I'm tolerating that blight on the screen for performance because I own the PS4 version as well as the PC version, obviously, and I can tell you that the PS4 version is laggy and it loads much longer than this. Even though the loading times, even on the PS4, they're not that bad, but they're still longer than the PC version. And this, like, the performance, the way this game keeps up with everything that's happening on the screen, there's really no comparison. This is far superior than the PS4 version. And I realize that I do have a bias because of my snobbery versus, like, with console games, because I just was expecting. I think a lot of people were expecting a lot more from these new consoles. I mean, there's not even any really good games on them yet, and they've been out for almost 3 years. Is it 2.5 years, and they don't even have any fucking games? Jesus Christ, are you kidding me? That's true. I think it is true. But we are getting God of War 3 remastered on Tuesday, and I'm keeping my expectations very low. I actually asked somebody at Santa Monica Studios via their Twitter account, because you can always kind of tell if somebody on Twitter is going to respond to you. If there's a lot of replies to a lot of people on there, especially in short periods of time, you'll see like a response from somebody in like an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, 42 minutes ago, 39 minutes ago, 35 minutes ago. So I said I might get a response from these guys, and I did. And my question was, will Chaos Mode be unlocked by default for the new remastered version? And the response that I got was, if I can find it on my page here, my Twitter account, it was I'm trying to look for the thread on my Twitter account on my phone. I will talk about these guys in a moment, but what you should know on these guys is that you want to have the concentration gauge into the purple region. And then I discussed this in the last video, but you have it up to the purple region. You then sacrifice some of your devil trigger to do the Y plus B hold using the devil trigger, and you do that great move, which is called the it's the judgment cut, but it's a much more stronger attack. But the response that I got was they said, "Don't believe so," to my question of, will Chaos Mode be unlocked by default in the remastered edition coming out next Tuesday? And then I said, that's unfortunate, but thanks for answering my question, because even though I do think it's very unfortunate, if that's true, if it's not unlocked by default, I still very much appreciate them taking the time to answer my question. And then I didn't expect the conversation to go any further, but then they responded to me and said, true for those who played, but nothing like earning it again. And to that I said nothing, because at that point these people are assuming that I have time that I don't even have to waste on beating something that I've already beat so many fucking times it's not funny. And I think that anybody who does a no upgrade run or a pain run should be given special consideration. You know, not like it's feasible or anything like that, but I don't think they knew who they were talking to be honest. So we're gonna come into this torture chamber room, you guys, and we have gladiuses flying in the air and scarecrows cavorting on the ground. So the way to deal with this room, the best way that is to accrue the concentration gauge. So the concentration gauge is a gauge that augments your attacks, makes them stronger, and the trade-off is that when you have it, you cannot be moving. So idleness is rewarded and movement is penalized, and that's ironic in a game where you have to be moving around constantly to avoid things. So the things that you want to do to keep your concentration gauge are things like the air trick, because that's not classified as movement. And indeed, if you get the proper timing for a trick, like an evade, like at the last second, you'll immediately see your concentration gauge go up quicker. And I think you get one double trigger back, if you take my meaning. But that's an annoying room, and every time you do the trap upstairs, or the sequence of latching onto the grim grip points, and you fall down, you have to do a forced fight with 5 scarecrows. No gladiuses, but still it's a forced fight with 5 scarecrows. So on these, the thing is to latch on as quickly as possible and press the B button as quickly as possible. See, boom, boom, don't delay. And then on that last one, make sure the grim grip points are more or less in the center. And it's very annoying. It's very even if you know what you're doing, because of the failures of the lock-on. And then when you get into this room, you do get a checkpoint, and it will be the second to last one on this chapter. So I never really like fleeing from fights, and the only fight that I may flee from is the one with the Chimera infused blades and or the Chimera infused, which ones? Scarecrows. Those guys are very troublesome and not fun to fight, but hell, these guys aren't fun to fight either, and I still did it, so I probably won't be skipping anything in this game. I should also say that the concentration gauge, when it's locked in place, and even when it's not really, it absorbs damage for you, so it acts as an HP gauge, even though at that point, when the gauge is bleeding itself out to absorb damage for you, you're losing the concentration gauge at the same time. And when I first saw that, I thought there would be some kind of an item to use to refill the concentration gauge, but there isn't. You know, like the way you refill the double trigger gauge, it's not so. And even if there was something like that, I wouldn't use it, because I'm trying to do this without using items. So what I'm thinking right now is that I need to leave this fight with as much of my concentration gauge intact. And I believe I mentioned before that whatever you leave a fight with, that's what you carry over. See what I have right now? I think I'll press the right bumper at some point over here. Yeah, see how it stays? However, if you go to another room and you approach enemies, you have to be immediately fighting them. Otherwise, if you approach enemies and then run away, what's going to happen is it'll start draining. So we're going to approach these guys and do this move here. Now this would ordinarily kill them, but since they have so much HP resistance on Dante Must Die, it doesn't kill them. However, I don't think my concentration gauge was filled up all the way. If it was, they might have got killed. So anytime you get into a status effect of getting frozen, just press the double trigger, and if you have any, you'll be able to break free of it. It's a really fair mechanic that I definitely applaud. Also, I was going to mention that something else about the concentration gauge, I think. Oh, no, it was, if you notice that when you're using the Yamato to stinger around enemies, to cancel out of the sheathing animation, what you do is, since you're already holding right bumper, just press right bumper plus the B button to do the grim trick, and you'll cancel those animations. But if you're just going around world maps with no enemies around, you're not going to be able to cancel it. And the reason for that is because there's no enemies around you. So this over here in this behind this glass, it's going to say I have a blue orb upgrade or something like that, but I've already bought everything. So I did not earn anything as far as unlocking this difficulty, because I paid my $1.49 to unlock all the modes. And I think that I love that. I mean, say what you want about it, but it saves people time, and I like that, and I support it. Because just face it, I know we shouldn't accept it, but we're in a day and age where people are going to just charge you for everything. So, I mean, what can you do? It's just, these are bad times that we live in. So, we will be coming back into this room, and I had a really hellish time trying to kill the Blitz the first time I played this game. And it is possible to use the blade to kill him. Right there I'm taunting to try to build up my concentration gauge. And we will be fighting some Bianco Angelos in the next room too. Always, if you need health, you can get some back by having your style increased as much as possible. But I've never been a player where I care about the styling points. It's just beating the game without using items, and that's the biggest challenge for me. Because at this point in time, I can't guarantee that I can do it because it's extremely hard, and I'm poor at this game. I wish I wasn't, but I'm still trying to learn how to do it. And when I say that I'm poor with this game, it's largely because this character is brand new to me, and I'm not very good. So this is I think this is the library area. And as Nero, what you would do on these enemies is just buster them. Simply buster them while you know, then let loose your charge shot level 3 and things like that, and then, you know, do a couple of level 3 exceeds and break these guys' shields. See, the problem is, you'll notice it when you see me play these, is that I keep ricocheting off the shield and they hit me even though I'm trying to evade at the same time. Also, if you are struggling on these enemies, the more that you keep the camera off of them, the more they will pacify. So you will want to do that, although some venues in this game do not have any means of controlling the camera because it's fixed. But I would say that more often than not, you are in an environment that can be turned with the camera. You know, you can turn the perspective. You can't turn the environment, obviously, but I think that's the last guy. The lunar phase works really well on those guys, and I will see you guys in mission 4. We're going to have the tally sheet coming up at the end here, and the only thing that I care about is where it says no items. So I will see you in the next chapter. Take care.